people, how have you been? My name is Kathleen, I'm Brazilian, and I love talking about books. So today I'm here to talk a little bit about my experience while reading the book Diary of the Cats. The cats are Yon and Mu by Junji Ito. Junji Ito is a manga writer. He's from Japan, and he usually writes horror, like Japanese horror manga, which is very like horrifying. I've never actually written his horror mangas, but I've watched a lot of videos about his mangas and his stories, and they are very, very, very scary. But this one is not a horror story. This one is a comedy. He writes very funny stories about his cats. So Yon and Mu, they are his cats. So this white and black cat here is Yon, and this cute fluffy cat here is Mu. They are his cats. This guy here is Junji Ito, and this woman here is Aku, Junji Ito's wife, and they are the four characters of this story. Okay, I will show you a little bit, from the book. So in this part here you have Yon. These are the two cats. Yon is the white one with black dots, and Mu is the Norwegian cat. Here you have like more details about them, and they are short stories. Each chapter is a different funny story about the cats. He starts talking about how he got the cats, like how the cats ended up at his house. Yon was a cat that lived with Aku's parents, and when they got married, when Junji Ito and Aku got married, Aku decided to take Yon with her to her house. And Mu was an adoption. They adopted Mu from a fair that they went. All the stories are like cute little funny stories, like how the cats ended up at the house, how the cats ignore Junji Ito and he just wants the cats to love them, how Junji Ito had to learn how not to love dogs as much because they don't have dogs, they now have cats. So how he started loving cats instead of dogs. How another story that I thought was very funny was when Junji Ito had to spend the night working on his horror stories, because he writes horror and he draws horror. That's why most of the drawings, even though it is a funny like manga, like most of the drawings are a little bit scary, like the way that he portrays Aku, his wife. Like she doesn't have like normal eyes. She looks a little bit scary, even though she is like full of love for the cats and she takes care of the cats. The cats love her, but he is used to drawing for horror stories. So it is a comedy with like a little bit scary drawings, which makes it funnier. Like it's funnier when you have like this. It's like, I will munch you, I will hug you. Like this is his face when he saw Mu and he wanted to squeeze Mu because Mu is so cute that he just wanted to squeeze him to death. I mean, not actually to death, but like the things that are happening are funny, but the way that he portrays it, like the way he draws it, are from his horror stories. So yeah, I think that the combination of the scary drawings with the funny things that are happening with the cats is a good combination. I think that the story itself, like the writing, is not the best, but I think it's because he's so used to writing like really scary stories, and this one is like a comedy. I think that the writing could be better. I don't know his other mangas, but probably they are way better. Like probably the story in the horror mangas are way better. But for me here, The best part are the drawings. Like his style is very unique, and his style reminds you of horror stories. You know, like the way that Yon here is scary, but it's just because in this page here, one ran away from home, and they needed to like tried to find him like all over the city, and they found him in a warehouse, and then the owner of the warehouse needed to help them like take a part of the wall out because Yon just like hid inside the wall. So, and he was there like inside the wall looking all like scary, like, oh, you're not going to come here and get me. But they ended up having to go and get the cat, you know. So yeah, I loved the combination. I loved the humor. I think that maybe the written part could be a little bit more developed, but I loved the drawing. So yeah, I think it was because Junji Ito here was a little bit out of his element. His drawings are amazing, but like telling funny stories maybe something that he hasn't done for a while, because between the chapters here he wrote an interview that he gave in 2009. So you have like questions and answer in between chapters, and one of the questions were about him being a comedy writer before him being a horror writer. And then he explained that it's not that he was a professional comedy writer. He started when he was a teenager, and he started drawing and practicing drawing and writing mangas. He wanted to be funny, so he used to draw and try to fit like funny stories within the drawings, but he didn't like the story so much. He like kind of got fed up with the funny stories because that he was writing, and then he changed the funny stories into horror stories. So I think that he discovered, like, now this is my opinion, I think that he discovered that he's way better writing horror than comedy. But in this case, since he's talking about his beloved cats, because he loves those cats to pieces, like he really loves the cats, so he wasn't going to write a horror story about two lovely beloved cats that he loves to death. So he just wrote a funny story, like, or a compilation of like a group of funny stories about the cats. So I think maybe that's why the written part doesn't read as well, like it doesn't read as being as phenomenal as his drawings, because I think that he's like his horror writing muscle is way more developed now, I think, because he's famous for being like this incredible horror writer and horror manga writer. So I think that maybe that's why the comedy part here could have been a little bit more developed or a little bit more polished. It is funny, it is good, but not like, oh my god, amazing writing. Like the drawings are way better than the writing itself in this one. But yeah, I would recommend, because it's like a very quick read. Like if you have 1 hour on a Saturday afternoon, you can sit and, you know, just appreciate little cute funny stories about two cats from like a cat lover and a cat owner and his wife. Yeah, so I recommend it, but it's just for you to be entertained, like really quick entertainment. If you have like an extra hour from your day and you love cats, it's worth it. But if you're looking for like an amazing, complex, emotional story in a manga, that's not it. It's just like a silly comedy compilation of stories that, you know, like a cat owner and a cat lover. I think it's like his homage to his cat. Like he loves this cat so much that he couldn't help himself, and he had to write about them, you know, because he loves them. And there is a little bit of like a like a horror, not horror, but like he sees scary things all the time. I think that it's because he writes scary things, so he tries to get inspiration from everything. So, for example, if he sees like a shadow, he thinks it's like a ghost or like a spirit or like a monster, but then maybe it's just like Mu, one of his cats running around the house, like he has this imagination that everything's like this horrible monster or ghost or, terrible thing happening. But at the end of the day, most of the times in his house, it's the cat. It's just one of the cats running around and making noise. And it makes it funny because he's always trying to get like the point of view of a horror story, but it's something funny that the cat's doing. Yeah, so I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it as an entertainment, piece of writing and but yeah, I liked it. If you like cats, I think it's an interesting thing to read. But take into consideration that it's not meant to be like this amazing, incredible piece of literature. It's just a funny manga written by a very skilled drawer, like a very skilled artist with a comedy story like with it, So that's it. If you liked this video, please click the thumbs up. Oh god, that word almost didn't get out. So if you enjoyed this video, please give me thumbs up because it helps me a lot. Subscribe to the channel because it also helps, it counts a lot. If you arrived up to here at the end of the video, thank you very much for the support, and we will talk again next videos. All right. Bye bye.